Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Friday and on Aquarius Rising Africa. Here we go, Lisa D. You're right about that. Welcome everybody. Nice to see you all in the chat. And I wonder, do you Americaners not sleep? Because I see there's quite a few of you in the chat here, which is always wonderful. I love seeing you guys join us in our morning shows. So it's really cool. Welcome everybody. Nice to see you. And yeah, see, we have a new member, Deezism. Deezism. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that, but I wanted to say thank you so much. Really, really, really appreciate your supporting our membership channel, and look forward to seeing you on some of our. We're doing a lot of things, actually. I'm just sitting here thinking, I've got a lot of things I'm going to be doing for membership as well. I've got the book right here, actually. African Symbolism by Credo Mutwe. So for the memberships, I'm going to be going through some of the African symbolism, courtesy of Credo Mutwe, who's no longer with us on the earth plane, but most certainly one of the most profound African spiritual leaders of our time, for sure. I'm also currently planning a show on him, doing quite a bit of research. He's quite an amazing person to research, so I'd love to start sharing information with him. Hot pink to love hearts, absolutely. You see my heart is now not doing its thing. It actually is, but it's not, you can't really see it because the light. I just got hearts all over the show. I love them. What can I say? Anyway, guys, so today we have, of course, Joanne Breeze on with us, and we're going to be talking about part 2 of, and I want to say Joanne's experience of what it was as an SRA survivor and going through horrific experiences and understanding what soul fracturing really is and what it means and what it looks like and how does one heal from that. We're going to be talking about that today. She's also ready to reveal the sources, her father, who's recently passed, but we'll be talking about that. In the meantime, holy moly, let's bring on this lady. Ta-dam.
Hello.
Happy Australia. How are you today there in Down Under?
Well, we're good. We've got one heck of a storm and we get bad easterlies here. So we're hoping the roof will stay on.
Yeah, you were saying, I mean, I was chatting to you yesterday as well, and you were saying that there's horrific weather conditions occurring there now, yeah?
Yes. So, no, we probably won't lose our roof, but it really upsets the kangaroos and the joeys because one of their biggest enemy, apart from predator, is wind. They do not like the wind. And normally our alpha will get the whole mob and they will corral them into one area and with the other lesser males, and they will literally stay on the outside of them and keep them together and safe so they feel secure and the wind doesn't seem to bother them that way. But as these joeys are not part of that mob yet, that's my job, and I've got to corral them and make them safe. And that's sometimes a bit of a challenge, I can tell you, because we've got Miss Dusty, who has decided that she must be the only joey because in the wild, Mama only has
That's
one.
Lisa D's child, isn't it? Dusty is Lisa D's child.
No, that's Pixie's Lisa's. No,
that's
Dusty.
Alika's child. Oh,
yes.
is Alika's.
That's right.
Yes, that's Alika's child. Of course she's cheeky. Of course she's cheeky. Good grief.
Yes, well, she doesn't want to share Mum, and she will push out of the way, and she will jump at them with her arms up and go, "No, get away from my mother." Yes, that's right, Lisa D. Pixie is yours. That's right. So, and we've also got little Jonas, which is yours. Little Jonas is our little sookie bubby, and he'll stand there just like he did a little while ago, and you have his fingers in his little mouth, suckling away, looking at me, looking up at me, almost pathetic, like saying, "But mummy, you've got to
Well,
pick me up because I'm just a
he's
baby."
he's his mummy's boy. What can I say? He's a complete mummy's boy. I mean, he's just delightful. I love that mummy's boy of mine. Every time he hears mummy's voice, the ears go shh, 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 and the nose goes around and around. He's trying to smell where my voice is coming from. He's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it's so fun dealing with all the kangaroos, or as they're properly known, gongaroos. That's actually their
Kangaroo.
proper name. Yeah.
Yes, it is.
So we got to
Yes.
start calling them your little chunky monkey gongaroo, Lisa D.
She is a
She's
little
not
chunky monkey, Lisa.
she's
She
not so
is.
small anymore, actually, I'm sure. She must be quite big by now. I mean, I know I always see the videos of the boys, but and they're growing like at the rate of knots, right?
Mm. Well,
Yeah.
they are over 7 kilos each now, and you've got Lexi and Dusty who are going on 16 and above kilos each. And little Pixie Lisa is 6.7 kilos now, so she's not that far behind the boys. She's literally coming up fast. You know, she's not going to be left behind by anyone's stretch of the imagination. She's in there with them all. So they're all doing so well. My only big problem is when we have lots of thunder, and she loves her feeding time just like her American mummy. Oh, that is so precious. That is beautiful. Yes, she does. Yes. She's eating me out of house and home, okay? Yes. It's kind of, if the thunder and lightning starts here, I've got to make this mad dash out to their night enclosure outside because the two big girls only come in at night now if there's thunder and lightning, because if that happens, they get such a fright, they'll go straight into fences. It's the pitch of the thunder and the lightning they hear that we don't, that really frightens
Right.
them. It frightens the mob and the
Yes.
wild mob here. It really does. And there's me with these 16 plus kilo kangaroo, like Joey gongaroos, putting them in these huge big pouches, and then me chicken by my shoulder because it's the only way I can hold them. Do not hurt them, please know that. And I bring them inside. Then I hang them up. It doesn't sound right hanging them up, but in their bag. And they're very happy then, because then
What are you
after
using?
that,
Like kings? Are you using king size sheets now to hang them up in?
yep, we actually literally make them out of our sheets, doona covers, everything. There's beautiful big hanging pouches for them. And honestly, once they're settled, it's okay, Mum, I'll have a bottle now. Thank you, I'm inside.
Yeah, well, that's my little Jonas. I can see him. I know he does that. He's like such a big rough toughie out there,
Yeah,
but he just
no,
wants to come over and be cuddled.
yes.
Oh, so
Actually, our
cute.
big, tough, rough one is Joshua, and that's
Yes.
Linda's and
I was going to
Alfie and
say,
Ella.
Linda, is that Linda in the chat? Is that Linda? Is that Joshua's mommy? That's so cool. Linda, Joshua, and Jonas are having the time of their lives together. They are such good buds. It's so cute to see. It really, really is. But yep, that's my boy. Yep,
Yes,
that's. I got to tell you, you got a very special boy there. He really,
yes,
really, really is special. He's amazing.
absolutely.
Yeah,
And
but
you got
I've, sorry,
oh,
what did you
no.
say, Joanne?
I was saying what you get when the boys are together, Linda gets. So you
Yeah,
both swap.
okay.
So you both understand. Yeah, you both, because the boys, because we buddied them up. That's why you get the two of them when they're
So
buddies.
they're having
Because
the time of their lives.
they are.
Anyway.
So that's right. And he's He came such a long way from the moment he got here. He was in absolute terror. His trauma was deep for him, but it took me, was it 4 days for him to go from breaking out of his pouches, literally ripping through them free, to coming up to me and asking for a bottle at foot. So what we do is create that safety for them, because they come, and his terror was so deep. But even now, he can get in and out of his little room here, and even during the night, if he gets a little bit, oh, I'm not sure if I feel good about life, he'll jump over the fence, because they can, and he'll come up to me and be by my bed and touch, or go, he'll make a noise like, oh, and it'll wake me, of course. So I just collect him up, stick him in bed, give him a cuddle, and then take him back and give him a bottle, whatever he wants, and then settle him again. But that little boy, Linda, has come so far, and to integrate with Jonas as quickly as he did, it was godsend. It was a miracle. It was just, I can feel the vibration of it. It was so real, raw, and very precious. So, and he's, between him and Jonas, they're going to one day rival to be alpha of the mob that lives here at Home Farm. So you'll be able to see, both of you, watch them as they go through the rest of their whole lives here, which is going to be a fantastic journey.
Well, I like the idea of Jonas being the mob boss.
Yes, exactly.
I like the idea of my boy being the mob boss. Linda, you and I are gonna have a mother off here. Are we gonna be having fisty fights about whose son is the mob boss?
How cute! He's gorgeous.
And yeah, they're gonna be fighting over Pixie. It's hilarious. Oh, they're so funny. They're like children. Yeah.
Yes. But see, Lexi is, being the eldest of all of them, she will break them up. When Dusty starts getting really too out of control, she will then go up to Dusty and slap her, or go between her and Pixie, or between her and the boys, and she keeps her at bay. So she's going to be the dominant female in this little tiny mob.
Sorry, I was on mute. I said, Linda, don't worry. It's got nothing to do with me. This is about the boys. You're welcome to fight me for their spot, okay? a bit like we did with little Patrick. Yeah, the cat mothers, the claws were out. So fun, yeah. And then, of course, it's Pixie, Dusty, and Lexi. Lexi then is JoJo Awakens' little baby. Yeah,
that's right.
That's
Lexi
so cool.
is, and she is. If JoJo, you're on, I haven't got the chat up. I'm sorry, I haven't been able to bring it up, so I can't see who's on. But if JoJo is there, then she's going to be dominant female in our little mob here. And when she transitions into the Home Farm mob, she will no longer be a dominant. She will then be put in a place by the other females. And they're quite ruthless, the other females.
Well, you're going to see these female mothers standing there fighting with these dominant mothers. It'll be more about the dominant mothers, about whose child is ruling the roost there, is ruling the mob.
I think so, yes. Absolutely.
We'll start a whole new trend. Gonga mothers. It's like dance moms. We'll be gonga mothers.
Oh, that's
lovely. Anyway, well, you know what for me is such a blessing is to see how these animals heal. And I've mentioned a few times over the last few weeks, months, you know, and watch the space, because there's a lot of stuff we're doing with Home Farm Sanctuary. There's going to be a website and stuff shortly up. So you guys can go check it out, and everything is going to be put out there. We're working behind the scenes to make that happen. It's going to be really, really cool. And also, you know, these animals are incredible. I mean, you all know I've been speaking to animals since I was born, basically. And every animal, you know, it's like if you have a connection with a dog, the way you communicate with a dog is different to the way you communicate with a cat. You're using a different frequency, you know. And then, of course, it's much easier communicating with domestic animals than what it is with wild animals, because domestic animals are around humans a lot more, so they kind of obviously pick up their habits and ways, and it's like they talk. Wild animals are very different, although they will give you, it's all reading energy, right? It's all reading their energy, and so with ants, you know when there's a whole army of ants, you don't connect with one ant, you connect with a collective body, and that's a very interesting thing in itself. So why I'm saying this is because, and of course, when I then started connecting with the gongas, wow, what an amazing, they're completely different in the way that they connect. They are directly coming from what they call Great Spirit. They are direct descendants of Great Spirit. And they come here in their masses, and they don't care to die, I'll tell you that much. Not that it's nice, but they will keep coming, because what they do is they protect the ley lines. And especially in Australia, because Australia, there's so much nonsense going on beneath the surfaces of the earth there. And you'll find and I'm calling them gongas because that's really what they are. Whenever I say the word gonga, they get happy. So, you know, so they will be around the ley lines, and their energy, because their energy is so differently shaped, I want to call it that. And they speak from a different consciousness. That's all. It's very difficult to explain exactly what that means unless you're an animal communicator. But when you understand that and you see the message they're bringing, the joy they bring to this planet, what they're here to do, we can appreciate them with a whole new respect, I want to say. So please, guys, if you ever have the opportunity to eat kangaroo meat, don't do it.
Just don't do it.
Don't do it. Anyway, so Joanne, I know they've played such a pivotal role in your healing, but I know today what we want to do is kind of like go back a little bit as well. And we were speaking the last time about some of the experiences you had with your father. In terms of soul, the fracturing is more the word. Because for me, fracturing, I don't believe your soul can ever be broken, right? Ever. It might be fractured, but there's always that thread of your soul that connects everything together. So I think that's what the Luciferians have spent a huge amount of time doing, is trying to get people to actually believe that they've lost their souls, or that they are so splintered and so shattered that you can never get it back, and that you're doomed to darkness forever, stuff like that. So I want to hear from you, you know, just sort of going back to where we were before. Maybe you want to do a quick recap on just the previous show we did before you continue, and then just to hear from your side how that is for you and how it's been for you.
Okay, well, I totally agree that it's a fracture, it's not a shattering. And my understanding of that, this is how my mind, if you get a fracture in your bone, nothing's broken, okay? But with time and the right conditions, that bone will knit back together. So too is our soul, you know, because it cannot be sold, it cannot be given away, it cannot be anything, because it doesn't belong to anything but source or great spirit, whatever you want to call it, God. So that I understood. But going back a little bit, please, I'd like to start with the day back in January. I got a phone call from my sister. She's older than I am, telling me that my father had died the day before. And I went into like shock, but it was the strangest shock I've ever been in my life. And this is what happened then. I realized, because it was so different, that my soul was fractured, because every single time I was tormented, tortured, the R word, the what, you know, all that went with SRA or RSA. A piece of me had to literally escape and not experience what was happening to me. Because if it didn't, a piece of my consciousness didn't, I wouldn't be able to come back from what was happening. I was too young, and it was too much trauma. It was too much pain. It was too much evilness. And I thought, right, okay then, now I've got to go a little bit deeper, because this is feeling so different. I'm not in shock where it's paralyzing me. I'm not in shock where I'm losing control. This goes deeper. And that's, as I said, went back to have a look, because every time that happened, every single time, I went through an experience that was just way past what a person, a body, a mind can comprehend or even figure out. Because remember, this is when I was a child, before 5. That's when it started. So I thought, well, okay, those bits that were there, those ones that were present, that consciousness, it's still being held here by the entity of that evil. Now there's got to be a way, because now I could see this, and I needed to get that back. And I had all the tools and the knowing how to do it. And that it really was that. And no one, he didn't take my soul. He didn't win. Everything he said was now dead. Now, the body dies. We are frequency. We are vibration. We are energy. So his energy soul has gone off, and it's not to meet his creator, not to be judged by this creator. It's to be judged by his own mind. Everything he lived here on earth, he's now being judged by. He judges himself by what he's lived. So
Exactly.
everything he put on me, my sister, all that were abused by him, he now is facing. He now is feeling what we felt. And it really, it resonates like me. I'm just alive in electrical feeling right now talking. And he had to have that. And this feeling I've got now is what's replacing that feeling of, well, I'm just repulsive. Nobody can love me. I'm only a useful thing. What are the other things I think of? You know, I'm not pretty enough. I'm not good enough. I'm too fat. I'm too ugly. My hair's not long and beautiful. And if I have long hair, I destroy it, because I used to get my hair ripped out. If it was long, my mother used to grab my hair and pull it out by the handfuls. And I'm not that baggage. I'm not that rubbish, that belongs in a rubbish dump. And it was so profound. I'm telling you, it was so profound. So that's when I realized that entity, and I said about the living waters, because the reason I talk that too, you go and put your clothes in the washing machine, right? And it wishes and washes and sloshes and goes. But when it comes out, all of that dirt, all of that bad, now let's take that back to the abuse, all of that abuse, all of that demonic, ritualistic, was all washed out because it no longer belonged to me. He had no hold over me. His energy had no hold over me at all anymore. And I could then and slowly go back to different incidences, but I first had to literally acknowledge each time, each incident, each abuse, all of it, sexual, all of it. Identify it, not live through it again. Identify it, allow that to go back to him who is dead, and his energy is not, because he needs to feel that. It was his. It was always his. So this way I got to give it back where it originated from. So I had to stop.
I think that is, I want to just say, sorry, if you don't mind, I want to just interject here, because I think that is such a important and powerful place that you've reached, right? That realization that whatever he put onto you was his projection, because he too, at some point, was an innocent child who had horrific atrocities done to him. And unfortunately, he lost himself in that and became a worse monster than imaginable.
Yeah.
And it takes a very strong soul to be able to see things the way that you do, and to recognize in that moment that whatever was projected onto you was not in fact true at all, but in fact the lie of another who had another lie and another lie and another lie and another lie infused into such a powerful lie that it made people believe that about themselves and do the most horrific things. So you got to the point of recognizing that, and that their words, it was only their words or their actions that held you captive, that held parts of you or fragments of you captive, right? So like a bit of that incident held that part captive, that incident held that part captive. And it was like these claws holding onto these different parts. And as you were able to see the truth of the situation, the claws kind of released. And then you were able to go back and recalibrate into normalcy of what that is for you, right? And whatever your truth is. So I think that is very profound. Very, very profound.
And do you know something else that really, really has helped me? Is my own children, my relationship with my children. I see and I feel and I hear, like the day I found out he had passed, my daughter rang me because I let her know, and I let my brother, I don't know, I let her brother know, I think. And anyway, she found out and she rang me and she said to me, Mum, I want you to listen to me. She's very, 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 very serious. And she said, you've got to understand something, she said to me. He was your father no matter what he did. And it's like, whoa, what an impact, And she said, look, there's my shoulder. She said, if you need it, Mum, it's there for you. Well, and my son was the same. If you need me, Mum, you just let me know. And they said, both of them, don't forget to allow the grief, because they, like with my mother when she died too, this was your father. You need to grieve this. You need to release it. And just from
Absolutely.
listening to them two and them being there and supporting me in this journey of the first, couple of weeks of this, I could see what was there, which was a delusion of my life that was created by others, did not penetrate my beautiful family going forward, my children or my grandchildren.
You
Now
stopped it.
that,
You see that's what I'm saying. That realization, that truth in you actually stopped the abuse from continuing. You
yes,
know, this ancestral abuse, this ancestral curses, whatever it is, these guys call it. I mean, it's on another level, the way that it's ingrained into the DNA, literally generation after generation after generation after generation. It's so
exactly.
ingrained in people. And that's why I said, for you to have been able to stop that and recognize that, that is truly, truly, truly a gift from God, because
Oh, yes.
each family needs one such person. Each family who's undergone SRA or RSA needs one such person like you have that says stop. Because even if it's one person that says stop no more, it has the ripple effect into the rest of your family as well. It might take them longer, even if they unfortunately are still blind and continuing. Might take them a bit longer, but then, you will see with the next generation, it won't be nearly as bad. And so it weeds itself out, but we definitely need one hero, at least in each family, who's experienced these sort of things, to stand up and say absolutely no. Now, I know you as well have, and if that fly doesn't buzz off,
Is that what it is?
it's going to see its end with me. Anyway, Jan, today we've spoken about your dad quite a bit. And I know you've never really wanted to reveal much about him or his identity or anything like that. But today you've actually come forth and said you want to do that.
Yes, I do.
So are you feeling up to it?
I am. Absolutely.
Wow.
And I'd like to just talk about, we'll go from when he's in, we'll go from one photo to the next and I'll just explain what they are. Thank you, Chantelle.
You're welcome, babe. I'm just going to put that. And I had to just put that comment up from Lisa D because it's
yes,
so true.
Absolutely, Lisa D. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
You are a beautiful warrior, Joanne. You really are.
I'm a worry, I know that.
Okay, there he is. Let me just take the comment off quickly.
Yes, this is his name, Frederick Stanley Ellis, and his funeral was on the 11th of February. Now, the very first one where he's sitting, that was when he was at the height of his career in the Scout movement here in Western Australia. He was head honchos, quite Masonic, and there's been a lot of cases that have come out of that I think will go further now that I've put it out here and made it public for all to see, because it wasn't only just in Western Australia, because with them they have their jamborees and other different things where other countries all come in to Australia or Western Australia, and they all got together for weeks on end for these big events, and a lot of people were abused and hurt within that organisation. So that's him, Fred Ellis. That's what I remember him when I was a young girl and my school years. He was a very big man, very tall, very, very big man with a very small head. Okay, now I'll tell you something about the small head incident, because there is an incident where we were swimming, all 5 of us children, because I had 3 brothers and a sister, and some youth were doing like water bombing. They were jumping in and splashing, and we were all in there, and so was he in the water. And he said to these youths, "Get away from my children, or I'm going to get out and I'm going to deal with you." And they all laughed and said, "Oh, look at you, you got a little tiny head, you're this little tiny thing, we're not scared of you." Well, he started walking towards the shallow end, and the moment he stood out of that pool, those people, those youths, ran. He was a big, big man. He was not far off 7 feet. So
Wow.
he was a very, very daunting when you're little to look up at such a big man. But see, I also need to tell you, even then, when I was 5 and 6, I literally came between him and other children, other girls that were around, and since then they've come and told me this, that I saved them from him. I don't remember every time I did this. Apparently I was the one that would go up to him and say, "No, they're here to play with me or my sister. They're not here for you." So I've been a fighter from the get-go. Now, if we move on to the middle photograph, that's in their older years. That's my mother, Kathleen, and Fred. And as you can see, they've aged not very well, but they're so happy in their own lives and what they're still doing. They had not changed in any way. They had not changed. They were still abusive. Just were not nice people. And this was taken just before that photo, before my father was put in prison for the abuse of my sister and I and foster sisters. And then the last photograph is when he got out of prison some months later. It was taken at a event in Northam where children were. Because of who he was allowed to go and work. There was a big fair happening, like a big, what do you call it, royal show sort of thing. And children were there, and he was there, part of it, and cooking. And he never, ever lost, even though he went to prison. He only went for 2.5 years because they found him guilty on the first count. They found him guilty on the last count, but the 19 counts in between, they found him not guilty. To this day, how did that come about? So you can see he never lost his privileges. Even when he was in prison.
Are you?
Am I what?
I'm wanting to see, wanting to understand. So he had 21 charges of child abuse
Yes.
against him. Is that what you're saying?
Yes,
And that was all you and your sister and your foster sisters.
No, because my sister and I were tried on the same. Well, we tried him together. The foster sisters had to do theirs on their own. They had to be tried as a separate case. That's if they'd let us all go together and all be witnesses for each other, we would have got him really good. But because they tried, the foster sisters, because they weren't blood or his real children sort of thing, they could not be tried with us. Do you know what I'm saying? We couldn't all
Based
train
on
together.
what though? I find that interesting. Why could they not be? I mean, if they were being fostered in the home or adopted, whatever the case might be, it was all young girls. I'm assuming these were all young girls, right? That
Yes,
who had
yes,
the same complaint at round about this over the same amount of time. Okay, I guess that's your
absolutely.
legal system,
It
for
is.
whatever reason. So the when you talk about there was the first case and the last case he was found guilty of, but the 19 in between he was found not guilty. Was that
Mhm.
against you and your sister? Was that only the two of you?
Yes, only the two of us. That's correct.
So I'm wondering then, what was he found guilty of? What were the cases he was found guilty of, and what was he found not guilty of?
Okay. There was indecent dealing with a child under the age of 5, under the age of 12, under the age of 9, sexual penetration, rape, what do you call it when you bondage, oh, I can't think of all the others.
No, it's okay. I'm just wondering. So he went to prison for 2.5 years.
And he was
Never
under,
lost.
no,
Mhm.
he was under protection the whole time. He was put into protective custody straight away. And then they moved him to a prison which is up in the hills where I live. It's called Carnet Prison. It was a prison farm, so it was a working farm. Because he is a butcher, like an abattoir's butcher, he was the butcher at the farm. But he had, from the moment he got there, now you've got to remember, I live 10 kilometres down the hill. They gave him the use of a ute. He could come and go as he pleased. Let that sink
You
in.
kidding me?
No, I'm not.
Okay, let me. Okay, so let me just make sure I'm understanding this correctly. He goes to prison for abusing his daughters, right? Then they send him to something called farm prison, where it's like a working prison, and now he's loving his life because he's slaughter master again, right?
Yep.
Obviously got this thing for blood.
Oh,
They give
yeah.
him a ute, which I'm assuming is some type of a vehicle, for him to
Yeah.
drive around, come and go as he pleases. And he has
Yes.
no restrictions on him. There's no restrictions on his comings and goings. And I can
None.
just imagine that he probably would have gone to pay you a visit if you're living 10 kilometers down the road from him.
Well, the worst thing he did, Chantelle, was when my children, who were at the primary school, which again is only 10 kilometres down the hill, that ute and he turned up to get my children.
How did that not
So,
happen?
well, it didn't happen because the head mistress at the time was very aware of the fact that he was in prison, that he was, why he was there, and she knew of, what our children were not allowed near them, and there was restraining orders. They could not be around them, anything like that. She was very aware, knew what he looked like, and she got the police there very quickly. And with her and the security there, he was taken off. But nothing bad happened to him, even after that.
I want to try and understand. Okay, I think I've had his mugshot up for long enough now, right? I'm going to take it
Yeah,
down
long
for
enough.
a while. Um, it's always good to give people like that maximum exposure. Um,
Absolutely.
so then I'm trying to understand. Um, you talk about his position in the system. You talk about, obviously, from what I'm hearing, he must have been quite high ranking. What was his position in the system? What did he do that made him this high profile person that was completely protected within a prison system that really, because we know from what we're gathering that most prisoners, when they go in to prison for pedophilia, they pretty much are targeted themselves. So the other prisoners don't like them. This one seems to be King Kong there in the jail on his ute, like gallivanting around the whole of Western Australia, just about, harassing you, harassing your children while he's in prison. I mean, I'm sorry, I know I'm dramatizing this, but I just can't actually believe this. I mean, I'm trying to paint this picture, and the more I'm saying it, I'm actually getting annoyed.
Why?
I'm
Why?
like,
He was the
who was
overlord.
he?
The
Who was
overlord.
he? Why was he given those rights? What did he have over people's heads? Because that is the man, that is the behavior of a man who's carrying a sword over authorities' heads.
Yeah, yeah. He was the overlord of the Masonic here in this area.
What does the overlord do?
He sees over everything. He makes the decisions. He makes those decisions. When he was at the height of his scouts, because he was so high, he organised everything. Who did, who didn't, who stayed, who went, and his friends were the police. They would come over.
Like the mob boss, not the Gonga boss, not the Gonga mob. We're talking like, so pretty much what you're saying is he was like the mafioso boss. I mean, yeah, I always talk about the Stellenbosch, yeah, in South Africa we have the Stellenbosch mafia, where Stellenbosch is one of the most, it's Hawaiian area. It's beautiful. It's one of our most beautiful regions. And it's owned by the Black Hats, basically. So, and they're known as the Stellenbosch Mafia, and that's all the big guys, the South Africa's billionaire pedo club. They all hang out there. So I'm wondering, is this a similar type thing? So he was head honcho, mafioso
Yep.
boss of the area. So pretty much called on people who was living and who was dying, basically. So he was, yeah.
Well, he even operated what we call the illegal abattoirs. Sorry, but that's what it's called here. Slaughterhouses.
Illegal
Okay.
abattoirs.
Yeah, slaughterhouse. Okay. Now, I mean, there's a lot I've not sort of brought out because of how far it goes. Our biggest fear was the big bats, the big of yellow liquid and the drums, because that's how people disappeared, Chantelle. That's how they disappeared.
What was in there? Acid.
Mm-hmm. And we saw every single part of the process from the beginning through. And you know what? Police were there all the time. And these are high up. We met Prince Charles when I was a young'un. I think I've told you that. Don't
Did
like
tell me
that
that.
man much.
I was wondering if we were going to talk about that. Okay, well, since you brought it up, can you tell us under what context he was there? Not context, but under why was he there? What was he doing there?
Well, he was doing like promotional work under the Queen for the district, but he came out to the farm and there was a slaughter, and he's been a part of all of that.
Okay, so when we talk about a slaughter, what are we talking?
Well, first it's a pig, and that's as far as I'll go on YouTube.
Are we talking about the hunts?
But that's
So thereafter there would be,
children.
but would it be a hunt or,
Yeah,
God
it does.
forbid, led to the...
Yeah. Why do you think we grew up on farms? Why do you think they all happened on farms? These are big, big properties, bushland.
Okay, hang on. I want to just get this clear because this is really, I need to get clarity on this. Are you saying that he would come there and then obviously there would be a celebratory occasion and a pig would be slaughtered for the occasion and he would be there witnessing the slaughter of the pig?
Absolutely.
And thereafter there would be, are you saying small humans were taken to the, or were they hunted, or both?
Both.
Jesus.
Both.
No, Joanne, what are
when
you saying?
a lot things I wasn't going to talk about, but now he's gone, I don't feel the fear anymore. I don't feel the fear.
Sure.
See, another thing that's happened is the day my father died at 6 p.m., my mother's brother, who was very sadistic, he died at 6 a.m. that same day. Something very profound has happened for me. And it's time that they went and they brought this out in the open and they go and find what's left of those children, because I know where they're buried and I'm angry. I'm angry.
I really think stuff like this has to be brought out into the open. You know, if we're looking at what Rachel Vaughan's doing as well with the Beaumont kids, that she and her, and that well, not her sister and not her herself, but her brother and her sister witnessed the Beaumont children.
Okay.
And there's a big thing on that now. I mean, this is absolutely, I mean, it's shocking. It's absolutely shocking. As if one thing's not bad enough, then this is occurring as well. You know, I mean, imagine bearing that on your soul. Imagine bearing that on your soul. I mean, that is just something that I can't even imagine.
Now you
Sorry,
understand why
I
I had to
forgot.
go back to the fractures, and I had to come to a conclusion that was, no, I'm not going to shut up. I'm not going to keep my mouth shut. I don't have to look forward to beatings or being like when they got their big trucks and they put their trucks when like I was driving and they would come like that and corner me, so I had to stop. And they did that when my children were babies. Thankfully, my brother Stephen, who has passed away, came to my rescue that day out of I don't know where from, and he got me and my children out of there. Or else we wouldn't be here today. See,
Who was
all of
driving the
these
truck?
things,
Do you know? Do you know who was driving the truck?
my father and another driver from the company. I don't know who the other driver was at all, but yeah, it was orchestrated to make sure they boxed me in and got me and my kids, because I would not shut up. I would not be stopped. And that's always been my biggest sin, is I won't shut up.
It's not a sin. They will call it
But
a sin. That's
I
not a
feel
sin.
freer. I do feel
Yeah.
more free today and going through this process which is still like a process, because there's more things coming up for me that I'd put way back in the old filing cabinet and thought, well, it's safe there because I don't have to feel. But now I can, because that's the illusion. It's not me. It wasn't mine. It's his. Now
Yeah,
I can
absolutely.
actually say the truth that I've not said because of fear, and fear against my children because they would get my children, and they proved that many a time, or getting rid of me. I mean, for months and months when he was first put in to prison, apparently this was only told to me by the guards that were there. They let me know. And apparently he used to do this. He just, I'm going to kill that bitch. She ruined our lives. I'm going to kill that bitch. She ruined our lives. He didn't kill me. He just.
There was such a strong demonic possession there, boy. I mean, that's obvious. It's not. I mean, it's. I don't even have to say it. That's obvious. But wow, wow.
But I'm alive. He didn't kill me. And I do believe that's divinely directed, and I'm protected. I do believe that. I really believe that in my heart, because
No,
that's
you
what's made me
absolutely are.
stand, you know.
You
So
absolutely are. You absolutely are. There's no question in my mind about that. In terms of what you've experienced. And where you are at this point, in your life. It's just incredible, and that you're here to share with us. But I know we're gonna wrap it up for today. I know it's difficult for us to delve through a lot of these topics as well, and especially the first time as well. But when we're back, we're going to be talking, I know, about your brother and the rest of your family, and
yes,
exposing a lot of that as well. But I just want to say to you, thank you so much for the courage that you've shown here today, um, in terms of sharing that horrific information, and pictures of your dad. It's can't be easy.
mm, no, but yes. And as I said, it's really been profound for me. No, but yes. And thank you. Thank you.
Oh, goodness me, an absolute pleasure for whatever small bit we do here. Um, we can only hope that every child, well, I pray that every child that has suffered at the hands of your dad and his minions,
Absolutely.
that they are set free in the same way that you've been set free. That every child that has suffered in that way gets the same understanding that you do, and that they
Absolutely.
realize it was never anything they did, or never anything, it was never their worthlessness or lack of worth. I don't even know how else to say it, because it's just this kind of mentality where my life is worth more than yours, so I'll just kill you. You
Yeah,
know,
no. Yeah.
for every child that is an animal that has gone through that, I just pray for their release as well.
Amen. Yes.
Sure. Thank you, Joanne. Is there anything you maybe want to round up with, and just have some parting words for us?
Always stay in the real love. Always. And love each other. That's my only advice. Thank you. Thank you all.
Thank you guys for, and especially our American friends. I know it's early in the morning for you, and some of them, yeah, and I don't think it's that early for you guys anymore. You can't be that lazy. 6 a.m. is fine, okay? You can be up at 6 a.m., okay? Guys, thank you so much. We really, really appreciate you. And we will be back with Jan in a couple of weeks again, where we will, continuation of this, brothers and sister. It's so far reaching. And that, again, I always maintain that when we expose these things, it takes away the power that they have over somebody else as well. It's like every time we bring light to these topics, it's like they have less power over some child in the system right now. It's like the power over every child is becoming less and less and less. And I always say at some point, this will all make sense. I'm not quite sure when, but at some point, this will all make sense to us. And in the meantime, have yourselves a beautiful weekend. And you all know I'm going to be seeing you lots this weekend. So I'm happy for that. I'll be hanging out with you. You're my dates for the weekend. Okay. I've just decided I'm dating you all. Okay, guys. God bless you all. Take good care of yourselves. And I'll see you later. Mwah. Take care. Don't be good.